people can come in. Do either one of y'all have anything like generally or specifically on your minds I can help you out with?
I'm all good personally.
Cool.
Have I missed any kind of syllabus? New updated syllabus?
I don't know when the last time it was that you were on Moodle, but the most recent syllabus that's on there covers the week we're on from April 13th through the 17th. And I'll post the new one for next week on Sunday, though I'll also briefly mention, depending on who or how many people show up here, kind of what I expect to happen next week.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'll try to have it up early on Sunday so that you can look at it. If I get it done before then, I'll of course put it up there then.
Okay. Yeah.
Instead.
This has been sort of a very confusing sort of situation. So
sure. Yeah, there's a lot going on. A lot of stuff happening. But no, like I said, try to just pop in once every couple of days to Moodle, and if I put anything up, there's no real due date except for like end of the semester. There's some suggested dates, and I hope you can get them in sooner than later. But other than that, it's pretty laid back.
Okay.
I didn't miss anything. Well, cool. Okay, just making sure I took that note down so I don't forget to do that. Well, everybody, I'm gonna go ahead, unless y'all have questions, I'll just let y'all know what to sort of expect coming up, and then and if other people come in, then obviously y'all can hang back and hear what kind of questions they have, or you can get going. So as your book reviews have been coming in, and I've gotten a few of them in the past few days, and again, there's no late penalties on that, so just eventually I'll get back to them. I've started responding back to those. I'll do the same thing for the reading journals if I haven't gotten them from last week or this week. As soon as I get them over the weekend, I'm going to start responding to both the journal entries as well as the book review. And then what we'll do next week, more than likely, is instead of necessarily having an assigned set of reading for the week to finish one of the books, I'm going to suggest that for most of next week to have picked the text you think you're going to be writing about, one of our poetry books, or if you're doing one or two, and you're going to be spending your time on that book and conducting some preliminary steps into research. So you'll have less of a response journal due next week, and more of like maybe just like a few sources that you've been finding about the text. So it'll be less of a response. The reason I want less of a response journal is because I'm going to try to get back all of the other text I have to graded this early part of the week so that I don't get too overloaded moving that forward and we get backed up. But that'll be pretty much it. So hopefully, if you haven't already picked a book that you're thinking about using for the call for papers, or if you haven't picked a call yet, that's what I'd start focusing on. And then that way, next week during these meetings, if anybody has any questions on how to work on I'll get somebody waiting, how to work on any of that or what else to do with any of that, then we can use this time talking about research or working towards the papers, or whatever else, of course, y'all have as well. But that's my general approach, unless, hi, Sarah. But yeah, I don't know. What is that? Any questions about what that looks like? Yeah. Cool. Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
We're doing good. Doing okay. Yeah, I just went over some basic stuff, but I'll happily repeat it here in a few minutes. But if you need that. But do you have any questions or anything I can help you out with any of the assignments or any of the contexts or anything?
I feel like I kind of lost track of what's going on with the final project, just being away from school and doing some other stuff. And so I was looking today at the Call for Papers website, and I'm just a little bit confused about what we're picking from that.
Yeah.
I know that you also said something about picking one of the books.
Absolutely. So in a minute, I'm gonna share you the screen with you to show you that Call for Papers. There's a video that kind of goes over it a little bit, but I don't mind doing it again to kind of give you a sense of what it looks like. But basically what you're trying to do is you are trying to take, using the call for papers, which I'll show you how to kind of manipulate that, find something. There's going to be a call that has some sort of topic to it, whether it's reading for narratology, reading for a Marxist convention. Well, they don't have conventions, but, or like conferences, I mean, or like if somebody's doing a publication on, well, the one that I did the video on is I found one about hope. Like the pitch is right, how literature deals with the idea of hope. So if I was trying to get into this conference and read for them and get that publication, I would write a paper where I look at poetry through the lens of how it engages with the idea of hope. All right.
Okay.
So what I would do then, what I recommend is I would take one of the books at least that we've been reading this semester, more than one if you want to, that's completely fine, and write about them as how they think about and approach this idea of hope. How does hope, when you integrate that into the reading of the book, what does that tell us about hope? What does that tell us about the text? What's the synthesis of these ideas? And so that would be like, that in a normal semester, you would write me that paper, right? That's the thing you would do. But because we're not going to actually write the physical paper, we're just doing all of the component parts that would help us do that. And that would include like research toward that topic, that idea, research on the book, creating an annotated bibliography, topic proposal. So we're going to do all of the other elements that build to it, but not necessarily write it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you have a lot of options. I think you can do it in more than one way. If there's a book that we have read that, and I mean, hopefully you're going to talk about, you'd be able to talk about some kind of formal aspect within the paper as well, just given the content of the class. That's something that I should probably stress as well. But with all that said, you can either pick one of the books to start with, like just say, no matter what, I know I'm going to write about hoops, or I know I'm going to write about James Merrill, whatever it is, whatever you feel most confident with, or whatever you have the most questions on and most want to engage. And then just kind of find a topic by scrolling through all of them that you think you could make work, you could fit that into it. Or the other option, I think, is to kind of go through the text, the call for papers, look for a topic that seems interesting, that maybe you have some sort of other understanding of, like a philosophy or a religious text or something like that, that you've taken a class in, and you would then sort of make one of the books fit into that particular argument.
Okay. Yeah, I think I was just confused on connecting the call for papers with the books, but that makes more sense. Thank you.
Yeah, so yeah, absolutely, no problem. Yeah, and check out, there's like a 10-minute video where I go over the call for papers, where I kind of show what it looks like. And one of the optional Zoom meetings, we discussed it a little bit more in depth, that I shared the screen on that one. And if you get to that call for papers place, when you go down to poetry on the left-hand side, a lot of that is just clicking to the next page. Most of that stuff is not going to really matter. So if it just takes a while, that's just the nature of it. So go until you find something that really stands out to you, because there's going to be plenty of options.
Okay.
Yeah. Other questions about any of the upcoming assignments, or just general approaches, or anything else on your mind with any of that? All right. Well, cool. So I told the fellas that if you on Sunday, I'll post the new syllabus for what to think about for next week. Though I'm going to spend most of this weekend and next week returning papers with comments, so reading journals as well as the book review as they come in. So next week, I'm expecting not to really have a book to read for homework other than the one that you're going to be writing about for your paper. So it'll be more of like a research week. Okay. So you can spend that time doing it. So during the Zoom meetings, if you'll have questions about finding good research or kind of how to develop that bigger argument, we'll do it that way. And then the reading journal will probably be more like just showing me some of your research and what you've been trying to do. So I won't have a lot of time to grade that during the week, but I want to get these papers back first and then have a chance to see what you're up to.
Okay, sounds good.
But that's pretty much all I'm planning on doing. Cool.
Yeah, that's all I had. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Well, I don't know if we're going to get anybody else with 8 minutes in, so I'm probably going to call it. I'll hang back for a little bit if anybody has any further questions, of course, but like feel free to I'm going to stop the recording just in case.